I mean, Reading and Leeds was such an amazing experience. Like, it was unnatural.
So you were asked to play on the BBC introducing stage at Reading and Leeds last year. Could you
Yeah.
tell me a little bit more about how that came about, please?
That was amazing because, and this takes me back to my EP, Stormy Emotions. I decided to release the first single of that EP, which was called Insomnia. And I wrote that song when I was kind of going through a dark phase in my life where I couldn't sleep. And I was having anxiety and I was tossing and turning in my bed and I found myself up in the middle of the night. And I think for a lot of creatives, that's the kind of magic hour where it's like, oh, I'm the only one awake and I could be creating something while the world is sleeping. And I just had to get some stuff off my chest, and I started writing this song, which was a love song to other insomniacs out there, kind of like being a voice of comfort, and singing to a sort of lullaby that kind of goes quite loud in the middle, and then again lulls you back into this self-care kind of love song to all the insomniacs out there. And I sent that over to the BBC Asian Network and Bobby Friction, who is the BBC introducing DJ. He deals with them, and he really liked it. And he was like, "Hey, I want to make you my BBC introducing artist." And I was like, "What?" And yeah, I mean, they started supporting me, and my next single, Dark Angel, and ending with Nothing's Changed. By that time, I was shooting a music video for Nothing's Changed, and I got an email saying, "We're very delighted to tell you that you've been chosen to perform at Reading and Leeds." And I didn't even get it. Like, then someone in the shoot was like, "Ishani, we thought you'd be much more excited." And I was like, what? And they're like, "You're going to perform at Reading and Leeds." And I was like, "What?" And then it kind of sunk in. I was just like, that's not going to happen. Those things don't happen to people like me. What? And yeah, I mean, that's when it sunk in, and it was great.
I bet that must have been an amazing
Yeah.
feeling. What can you remember about the actual, the days performing? Was it a blur, or can you remember parts of
Oh
it?
my God. So the thing is, Reading and Leeds go hand in hand. And so you're at Reading, and then you perform, and you kind of meet all the other cool artists in the tent that you're at, and then you have to kind of very quickly say, "All right, bye, see you in Leeds," and then you have to kind of move everything and your band and all the equipment and get to Leeds really quickly. And yeah, so I've never actually experienced that logistical side of the music biz. It's not just singing on stage and bowing and goodbye. It's like, oh, there's so much more behind the scenes stuff happening. And I think it was really fun because there was a lot of cool people behind the scenes as well that make these festivals happen. I really miss festival season now.
It's kind of a hard time to think about that now that we're in lockdown. And whilst we're on the subject, how has lockdown affected your releases and your schedule?
One good thing is I had a plan for 2020, which was good. I knew that I wanted to consistently release music because that's what you have to do nowadays if you want to keep your Spotify healthy, and if you want to keep your fans engaged, you need to be consistent with the content you're producing. And so I had kind of made this commitment to myself that I would release a song every month or every other month. And I decided, because I was in this weird, like, we were all stuck, right? In this kind of moment. I really like this. I don't remember where I heard this, but someone said it was, we're stuck in the middle of an inhale and an exhale. And it's this weirdly uncomfortable position. I was like, yeah, and I have to create something and put it out there. And so I noticed that we're all kind of stuck on our phones or hooked onto our devices, and that's kind of like our outlet, even to get in touch with like family, because we're also alone and isolated in our lockdown life. And so and so I I started working on my new EP called Unkind Vibrations. It's kind of like, you've heard the Beach Boys, all night on good vibrations. But I was like, that was an amazing time in the world. However, now we're in this other kind of world where we're constantly consuming so much content on our phones, on our laptops, on our TV screens, news, different news stations telling you different things, politicians telling you different things, you reading stuff on your friends' timelines about what they're up to. And there's just so many different bubbles and so many conflicting things. And then you read the comment section and you read mean tweets, or there's a lot of unkindness going around in the world. And I was just feeling like we're all like subconsciously consuming that stuff, whether we like it or not. It might not affect us in the moment, but it's still in there. And our brains are like computers in a way, and it's like, oh, it's stored in there. And in order to keep our minds healthy, I think we need to kind of detox a bit and let that stuff out. But I don't think we do. And so that got me thinking about songs and vibrations and how vibrations affect things, and science and information, and who we are, and we're just human, and are we even built to consume so much stuff? And so I released Unkind Vibrations, and I think it went down really well because a lot of people could relate to that. Actually, it's on my phone, the cover
Oh,
of
I
the
love that.
phone, which is so meta because it's me holding my phone. And if you can see, it's like the cord is kind of around the neck, and it's kind of like
Finding you.
life. Exactly. It's like it's part of you.
It's beautiful artwork as well. It kind of really marries up to the music, which is great. Yeah, who was it who did the artwork?
Yeah, it was my friend Monique. She's she works in DC Comics actually.
Amazing.
Yeah. And we connected. She liked my music, I loved her art, and then we said, hey, let's collaborate. And I love the fact that she's another female artist that it was so fun to work with her. It was so easy at the end of the day when a collaboration goes well. I mean, there's nothing better than that when two creative people with their egos and their sensitivities when they get along really well and produce something together that they're both equally proud of. I think
100%.
well done, yeah.
Definitely. I think that aspect of the music community, and we touched upon before this, both being at BBC Introducing Live, and
Yes.
something about when you're all in the same place or you're working on the same project with like-minded people, it's that that's connection, not necessarily social media.
Completely, yeah, I agree.
Social media is such a strange one. During lockdown, I've been sort of deleting the apps. I'll go on it, post what I need to do, and then I'll delete them just to get
Right.
off them. I feel like a lot of people must be now questioning like their role in their life for social media, and how good is it? Like there's only, like you say, there's only so much news you can kind of consume.
Exactly. I thought about it every single day, and I was just like, the number of people I have on social media. I know it's a collection of people.
Mm.
I've collected people from when I was in school to when I was at a party, or someone I just met for like 5 minutes and we're friends, or something like that, or my mom and my mom's friends. And it's just like, who do I have to be? Because I'm so many different people to so many different people. And yeah, I mean, I think it's a place where you either self-censor yourself, or you go down that rabbit hole of what do people think of me, or it's just those kind of questions of self-doubt and self-esteem and identity and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I think everyone's going through it.
It doesn't matter how much you say, like, social media, the things that people are posting on Instagram, it's probably not real. It doesn't matter how much you say that to yourself. It's like that stuff still gets in, like you say. And I do worry, especially during lockdown, but even before this, I've always had like such a love-hate relationship with it. I imagine, as a musician, putting your stuff out there, it's that feeling that you have to be on there to promote, and that is where an audience is. Maybe it's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever it is. So you have to be on there, but it's such a negative sort of swamp.
It is. it's weird because, like you said, as an artist or a musician, you have to put yourself out there. And so, be it BBC Introducing Live or any other amazing, music business seminar, every time you go there and you listen to industry people speak, they say, use social media. It's an amazing tool, blah, 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 blah. And it's amazing. But at the end of the day, it's like, if you have to be an artist, you got to make good music. You have to be a good singer, but if you want a label or a radio station or anybody to take you seriously, you got to say, oh, and I have 1 million followers, and it's like, oh, do I spend my time doing music, or do I spend my time, promoting myself on social media? Do I put a selfie out? Oh my God, it's just so much. It's just madness.
How do you deal with that side of things? Because I mean, I talk to a lot of musicians, and prior to social media, you'd have, here's your marketing person, here's your promoter, here's your whoever, they're doing that. Whereas, so many artists now they have to be all of those things at once. So how do you deal with that?
I'm fortunate that I got to go to do a course in music business and all that jazz. So I do know what happens behind the scenes. And so as an artist, I don't have unrealistic expectations. And at the same time, I don't let other people take advantage of me. And I kind of stay grounded. Like it's all about managing disappointments and your self-worth, and getting lost in that world of what is fame? Have I made it? Have I done it? Oh, this song got 5 likes, or this got 50 likes, or this got 500 likes, or 1 million likes. And it's very easy to get lost and feel like, oh, I failed. And I felt like that. I mean, I've been there. But I mean, I think at the end of the day, it's about keeping busy and keeping good people around you, people you trust and people who, build you up. And you have to do the same thing for other people as well, mind you. It's a give and take relationship. And you just have to grow your own kind of garden of amazingness. Otherwise, it's like if you stop watering your plants, they're gonna die, so you have to keep that up, I guess.
I like that a lot. As someone who has a lot of indoor plants.
Oh, right. Yeah, right.
I think it's important as well, the fact that you performed at Reading and Leeds, those kind of highlights, like just appreciating them, knowing that no one can take that away from you, and being mindful of that, because there's so much of that looking for the next thing, and you're only as good as your last thing, and it's tricky, isn't it?
It is tricky. And what goes up must come down, and karma, what you give is what you get. I believe in all of that stuff. I mean, Reading and Leeds was such an amazing experience. Like, it was unnaturally high. And then there was a crash. I mean, I was exhausted. And I was like, oh my God, am I ever going to be able to, match that again? And then you just feel like that was a chapter. Next page, please. And then you start over again. And then you start over from the bottom again. And you have to be okay doing that, I think. At least that's what I'm trying to tell myself and learn. It's like every time you finish something, you have to start again. And you have to start from the bottom again.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a really important point. Do you maybe have some advice for other artists who might be watching this, who are, have hit a top, and then maybe the attention is kind of gone and they're looking for that new thing, or they're trying to manage that?
I would say, let's be friends. Because we need to stick together. I think having someone you could really confide all your problems and your doubts and stuff, and people who would lift you up, is very important. So make sure you find someone who you can be very frank with, someone who will tell you, just shake it off, you're fine, you're amazing, you did this, you did that. And I think to remind yourself of, the things you've done to kind of keep you positive, and say that you did that, that's amazing. And when you tell yourself that you're going to build something new, then it's fine, because it's a whole new project and you can do it. And then I think how I do it is I just go with the flow. I don't have a very set vision, and I know a lot of life coaches or people that I've met have said, what's your vision, what's your short-term goal, and what's your, and I was like, well, I don't know, because if I have that goal and if it doesn't happen, as life, thank you COVID, for example, like, I'm going to be disappointed, and then what? I can't change it. I let myself believe in other people as well, because I think it's really important to, in your journey to kind of lift other people up, because then you're just building good energy around. And then if we all win, what's better than us all winning together, you know? Keep going and keep spreading the love. If as an artist you're doing that, you're going to be happy no matter what. Even if you don't get that number one song, or you're not back on like main stage or something, you still have meaning in your life, I think, and that's what really matters.
I really like that. You've got a lot of positivity. I really like that. You and I have both lost loved ones through suicide. If you're comfortable talking about it, how did you deal with that kind of grief?
When I first heard about my first friend, so I lost two friends, unfortunately, I think it's like shock first, and then I was shocked, and I was angry, and I was sad. It was like this weird combination of three emotions. And so I just started writing, because that's what I do. And I just started writing, and this song just kind of started evolving, which is called Dark Angel. It wasn't always called Dark Angel. It was called One Can Jump.
Okay.
Which was interesting because my friend unfortunately decided to take the leap. And what was even more interesting is his name was Won Kyun Cho. And he was, I met him in uni, and he was an exchange student from Korea. And he was the most positive person I've ever met, actually, weirdly enough. I just felt like I wanted to pay tribute to him and come to terms with what happened through that song. And it took a while to kind of get it out there. Many years, actually, I sat on that song until I wanted to include that with Stormy Emotions and get that song out there, because I thought that was an important one. I always like to take songs that make me feel really dark and channel that energy and make it into something positive, so I can put that in my box of successful achievements and be like, that's you, that's for you, and that's there, and that's us, and this is something that we had.
Funnily enough, Jacqueline, my friend who took her own life, she was always really positive as well. And I think, I mean, sadly, that, you know, there are so many people who have been in the same situation. Robin Williams, for instance, you know, sometimes the happiest people are, you know, hiding it. And I guess for anyone who's maybe watching this, like, just finding whatever works for you to kind of express yourself in the, you know, for you, for writing, and just trying to deal with that. Because I mean, I remember finding out, like, first thing at work on social media as well, I found out, which was horrendous.
Oh, that's the hardest.
Yeah, and just, I don't know about you, but I just had such a, like, it was just such, like, bubbling of emotion that I was like, I don't understand how to deal with this feeling. It's such a wild kind of feeling.
Yeah.
And almost like not knowing what to do with yourself or how to sort of channel any of that. But to have that avenue as, you know, songwriting as, you know, a way to get out those emotions is really positive.
Both my friends were artistic as well, and I think a lot of people are very sensitive, and I'm very sensitive as well, so I can relate to that. Again, that brings me back to the point again. It's like, I bet you felt, I wish I was there. I wish I was there to help. I wish I was there to listen. Was there something I could have done?
Yeah.
It's so important to surround yourself with people who would help you or would listen. I think it's very important to reach out as well. And I think that's why I made Dark Angel, because it was kind of a plea to people who are going through something like that to not do it, to rethink it. Because I mean, I've been there. I've felt really, really, really bad sometimes, and you know, the moment passes. You know, you calm down, and at that point of time, you need to be good to yourself, and you have to be soft with yourself and gentle, and just watch all the bad thoughts kind of pass you by like clouds, you know, and just watch them. But then, I mean, it's easier said than done. When you're in the moment, who knows what you're feeling like. But I think for me, channeling that energy through art, through music, really helps.
Yeah, definitely finding what works for each person, and and in a healthy manner, I guess. I mean, do you have any advice for anyone who may go through that form of grief? Anything that you maybe noticed or learned through that process?
I mean, it's so hard because when someone takes their own life, they kind of send shockwaves because you didn't expect it. So it's kind of like a glitch. It's like, whoa, this was not supposed to happen.
Mm,
And so your body obviously doesn't get it, your brain doesn't get it, your heart doesn't know what to feel like. And it takes time, and you have to heal in your own way. But I mean, I would just say just talk about it when you're ready, talk about it with someone, and if not, just write a letter to that person, or have that kind of, because you need closure at the end of the day, a chance to kind of say goodbye or ask those questions that you have, and it's a private thing to do, I think. But I did it through my music, but I think channeling it out and asking those questions or having a conversation with that person. People have social media accounts that they don't close, and I find a lot of people kind of leaving messages on their walls, and yeah, it's just about getting that communication across and saying what you needed to say. I read that somewhere where someone said, when you kill yourself, you die once, but the people who are left behind, they're living that moment over and over and over again, thinking what, why, and that's the sad part. But I would say don't think about it and just know that they're resting
mm,
and they're at peace now, and
yeah.
remember them for all the good things that you remember them for.
I can tell that as a good communicator through your music. I think you're someone who can find the light, find the positivity, and and help to refract that basically and to others and stuff like that. So, and also I find your music really refreshing because that trip hop sound in a time where so much of music is this fairly similar thing that's often repackaged in the same kind of way. I mean, I adore that kind of 90s
Oh yeah.
Portishead sort of
Oh yes.
sound. Like I proper love it. So
Oh, good. I'm so happy. Yeah, because obviously when I started, really making music, that whole movement, the whole trip hop thing was over, and I was
mm.
like, hey, what do I do now? That's stuff I like. And then I was like, hey, wait, 100 years later, whoever is, crate digging is going to be like, putting us all in the same bracket. So I'm all right. I can make that kind of music. It's all good. And weirdly enough, it's coming back now. I think that whole thing's coming back. So it's the
Definitely.
time.
Cyclical nature of music, it's always going to come back. So yeah, you've got to stick to what's important to you and what works for you and what you connect with, and know that music will come around. And to be honest, there's always fans for that kind of stuff. So I'm loving it, and I'm glad that you got to play Reading and Leeds. And
Thank you.
I know Bobby Friction is been a good supporter of your music and stuff. So
It's about connecting with, that you mentioned Reading and Leeds and connecting with people. I think one of the best feelings I had on stage was to actually see the faces of people getting it and listening and like nodding along, and I was like, oh my god, they're listening to what I'm singing about and they're getting it. Because when it's, oh yeah, my song was played on the radio, it was fun because I knew that it was played on the radio, but you never got to see anybody's reaction. So I think that was another amazing way of connecting with people that I wouldn't trade for the world, really. It was so good.
since social media is so prominent, like so much of life is online. So to have that, I mean, I think that's why so many people are really missing it at the moment, and it like not having that sort of direct connection in that. But what does the future hold for you? What are your plans for sort of the next 12 to 18 months, do you think?
Near future plans are, I'm releasing a new song in a couple of weeks. I've got a few collaborations coming up as well. And then I'm going to release the last song of my EP and wipe my hands off of this one. And the last song is called Perfect Life, which kind of touches on everything that we've been talking about, social media and how perfect everyone's life is, and is it really real, and what are we doing? And then hopefully start doing live stuff again if COVID permits. I've been talking to a new drummer. We were kind of like working on stuff behind the scenes, ready to go really whenever we've been given the green light. There's a studio close to where I live, and there's a music venue, and I'm trying to kind of put on a music night for similar bands like me, so kind of get that trip hoppy grungy kind of new age music as well, and get similar artists to perform together. I'm also trying to start my own music label.
Oh,
um,
sick.
yeah, I've got some plans, and I'm like little building blocks that I'm kind of trying to put together.
Thanks for watching. Ishani has such an inspiring outlook on life, and her positivity is contagious. It's so common for all of us, especially creatives, to battle with ego. We are all focusing so hard on our passions that sometimes we forget the big picture. In the social media era, we're all trying to stand out and be noticed. It's important that we try not to see others as competition, but rather try to build a community with other creatives. If they win, we all win. I really related to her points on grief as well, channeling and understanding emotions. I put this video out some time ago on grief, which a lot of people have found comforting and useful. It's so important to talk openly and honestly about mental health. If you enjoyed this episode, please click like and subscribe for more regular content. New episodes are filmed regularly, and I'd love to have your feedback on who you'd like to see interviewed. Stay safe and stay connected. 2 links. Which one do you fancy?